Have you ever wondered how easy it is to build a concrete countertop? And is it really the best option for an outdoor kitchen? Well, I have, and I'm about to find out on Brew Builds. You ready? Let's build this. We're planning to build some concrete countertops for our barbecue and fireplace, but I've never attempted something like this, so I thought it'd be wise if I built a test countertop first, to see if I can actually do it and have it come out looking good. Also, concrete countertops seemed to be a rage a few years ago, but are they the best option, and will they save us money doing this as a DIY project, or should I be looking for something else? Tools and items needed. Concrete countertop mix, concrete die, some 1x wood, a tape measure, a screw gun drill driver, a table or miter saw, a hammer, a brad nailer, wood glue, a magnesium trowel, concrete finishing trowels, a hand sander, diamond sanding pads, some buckets, gloves, and your personal safety gear. In my research, I found a few manufacturers of concrete countertop mix, but then finding a place to purchase some bags was another challenge. And with the online option, the shipping costs added another 30 to 50% to the total price, making concrete countertops really not a cost-effective option. I was able to find this product at a local box store. However, there's 5 of these stores within 10 miles of me, only one of these stores is actually carrying this product. On the brew scale, technical ability I rate as a novice. You will need to know basic carpentry skills to make your own concrete forms. Physical ability I rate it as difficult. Mixing and moving concrete can get tiring. Luckily for me, this is a small job. For my test countertop, I built this mold for a 21-inch square top using cement board as base on 2x4 framing. I was going to attach the cement board, but then I realized if I wanted to reuse this as an actual table, I would need to be able to separate the 2x4s so I could build a nicer looking frame. I guess this will be a removable cast-in-place countertop. The concrete mold edging was built out of 1x2s and 1x3s, which will give me about a 2-inch side profile. Chicken wire will be added to give this table a little more strength, but I'll use something thicker for the actual countertop. You can find plastic molds online that look easy to use, have different edge profile options, and will snap off once the concrete cures. If done correctly, this will leave you with a nice, smooth concrete edge. But unless you can pick these up, shipping once again makes these costly. Because of this, I decided to build my own molds. Also, we just want a square edge with rounded corners, so to build something out of wood would be easy to do. The forms are built like a Z, using the bottom piece to attach them to the 2x4s. The middle piece would be the bottom of the countertop overhang, and the top piece is the side of the countertop. I measured and pre-cut all the pieces using a table saw to cut the 45-degree angles. I used glue and brad nails to attach the 3 pieces together that make up the form for one side. The 4 corners will be attached together first before screwing the forms to the 2x4 framing. That way I can keep the corners tight and square to each other. Caulking is added to all the seams to make the forms watertight. And to make the corners rounded, I'm using a 3/4 inch washer along the seams, which will help form a nice, round, consistent edge. Now that the caulking has dried, I can trim away any excess to keep the concrete sides void free. And a quick sanding to smooth out any of the rough spots. Time to mix up this bag of countertop concrete and pour it into the mold. Lift with your legs, oh yeah! For each 80-pound bag of concrete mix, add approximately 1 gallon of water. You will want to add the color mix to the water first and mix it well, which I forgot to do because I was too excited to start mixing the concrete. This bag of countertop mix will yield approximately 0.6 cubic feet. If my math is correct, I will need a little less than half a cubic foot, so I'll just mix up about 3/4 of this bag, which is good because I don't think the entire bag will fit into this bucket. My drill was starting to strain and it began to smoke, so I had to switch to the shovel. I will need to figure out a better way to mix this if I end up doing the larger countertop project. Wow, is this stuff just thicker compared to regular concrete, or did I not add enough water? I know adding too much water to concrete can make it weak, so I'll just work it some and make sure to work it down into all the corners. Any reinforcement should be in the middle of the slab, not resting on the bottom, so I'll just give the chicken wire mesh a little tug. It would be better to use spacers with the proper wire mesh. I'm just doing it this way for the test. This feels more like stucco than the bagged concrete you'd pour for a slab or footing. It is workable. I imagine it would have been beneficial to mix it for a few more minutes with a good mixer. Now that I've filled most of the mold, I'll remove some of the excess and keep working it into the forms. Be sure to tap the sides of the forms with a hammer to remove any air bubbles caught against the sides in the concrete. Once you have the concrete level, it is recommended to use a magnesium float first on the surface. Magnesium smooths the surface of fresh concrete and opens the pores for proper evaporation without pulling the concrete away from the edges. Then use the steel trowel once the concrete starts to harden. This will help create a nice, smooth, hard surface. It still doesn't look quite level, so I'm going to screed it again with a 1x4. When I first dumped the bucket, I thought it was way too dry, but after working with it some, it seems fine. The question is, did I get it into the corners enough? I'll go ahead and use a curved edge trowel on the corners. I was debating if I should do this now or just use a grinder later. To help remove even more possible air pockets, a palm hand sander was recommended to use to vibrate the sides of the forms. And another pass with the magnesium float. And the curved edge trowel again. And another pass with the magnesium float. About 45 minutes has passed, so I will now use the steel trowel on the surface, dipping it in a bucket of water to keep it clean. For a real smooth finish, repeat the steel troweling step 2 or 3 times, letting the concrete harden a bit between each pass. Hold the trowel almost flat, elevating the leading edge just enough to avoid gouging the surface. On each successive pass, lift the leading edge of the trowel slightly and add a little more pressure. And it's starting to get dark. And another pass with a little more pressure. And time for a cup of tea. And one more pass with the steel trowel. Okay, that's a wrap. Well, it's the next morning. It looks like concrete. Not sure what this thin layer of lighter gray stuff is. It does wipe off somewhat. Huh. I like the darker tone. I guess I need to get the forms off and see what the edges look like. Not too bad. You can see there are still some air pockets trapped against the forms, and the round edges are pretty rough. It adds character, right? Let's see if I can sand some of these rough spots down. This is removing the light gray film that was left on top of the surface, and it is starting to look a bit better. I only sanded about half, and I want to try a kitchen pad with water on the other half to see if that will remove the film. Well, it looks terrible dry, but pretty good wet. The kitchen pad didn't remove the light gray like I was hoping it would, and I think I should have let it cure a bit more before using the sandpaper. The surface has a rough feel to it now, almost looks like sandpaper, which is cool if you like that look and that's what you want, but I was wanting something smoother and glossier. A few days later. I purchased these sanding pads that are made for concrete and stone. They should work quite a bit better than the regular sanding paper I used at first. This kit was reasonably priced, and it did come with an adapter to use with a drill if you don't have a disc sander. There are a bunch of different kits available. I'll put a link to this one in the description. I went with this one because of the variety of grits that I got with it. I'll start with the 50 grit disc first. You don't have to use water, but it will keep the dust down. Just be prepared for a fine line of concrete spinning off the sander and getting on everything. Time to give the hand drill attachment a whirl. They work about the same. The drill does spin faster, but it's easier to keep the hand sander flat, applying an even amount of pressure. This is a very slow process. Time to bring out the big sander and smooth out these corners. It works great, except the sanding disc only lasts about 2 minutes. I wonder if I make diamond sanding pads for something like this. I need to check that out. After using the 50 grit, I switched to the 100 grit sanding pad. It would take weeks to go all the way to 6,000. The top looks nice and feels smooth. It looks great wet and okay dry. The sides still have some character, so I need to figure out how to make sure I don't have any air pockets. I need to really work and compress the cement into the sides. If you have any tips or suggestions to share, please leave a comment. We would like it to be darker, so we may test some stain on this top later, and I also need to seal it. Now, I just need to decide if this is the best way to go for the barbecue countertop and the seating area around the fireplace. Be sure to subscribe to find out what I end up doing. Here's another video for you to watch, and check out this playlist if you want to see our entire backyard makeover project.